Guest, and every guest gets the same question. What's your name and what are you doing here at JFall?
My name is Maarten Mulders. What am I doing here at JFall? Well, JFall is the Dutch Java conference. I am Dutch. It's a home match for me to be here. No questions. I
Mhm.
mean, I should be here. I want to be here because here is where I meet speaker friends, colleagues, past colleagues, current colleagues, maybe future colleagues.
Mhm.
So I'm enjoying a day full of knowledge, experiences, memories, everything.
Do you speak yourself today?
Yes, I will be speaking at roughly 5 p.m. So I have still time to build up my nerves.
Okay. And what is your talk about?
I'm going to discuss open source citizenship, but mainly from the enterprise perspective this time. So it's not about people sitting in their attic at 9 p.m. in the Friday afternoon. This is about companies using open source. And well, then what? Is that all? Is it just your company using open source? Or are you going to give something back?
Mhm.
That's what the talk's about.
And I know that in your company where you work for, you are indeed collaborating and giving back to the community and
Yeah,
working on several open source projects.
that's right. Yeah, that's partially where the talk comes from, but it's also deeper within. It's the strong feeling that if a company wants to be successful with open source, it's not only about consuming, it's about making sure that you understand the product you're using and that you help nurture that product and that community by giving something
Mhm.
back. And it doesn't have to be much, but every little bit helps.
And what projects are you collaborating to?
I myself am collaborating on Apache Maven, so I've been a committer for a couple of years. Recently joined the project management committee as well, and I have a few colleagues that also do that on a more regular basis than myself, actually, because well, time limits also apply within
Mhm.
your work. But the great thing is, I do get some company time to work on Apache Maven if necessary, and in that way help Apache Maven grow and improve over time.
I think Maven is one of the most used tools within the Java community. How big is the community who is collaborating in the Maven project?
Well, we just heard this morning that Sharad said there's roughly 10 million Java developers in the world. Studies show that roughly 75% of them use Maven. So,
Okay.
well, you do the math, that's
Yeah.
7 to 8 million people using Maven.
Using Maven?
And now the question to you, how many people do you think work on Maven on a regular basis?
How contribute to the open source project? I have no idea. I hope it are a few hundred, but probably not.
I wish you were right. I think that the hardcore members, the people that put the most time in it, and I don't even count myself to them, by the way, is under 10,
Mhm.
maybe 10 if you are being generous.
There is
That's 10 people working on a product used by millions.
by millions. It's like that meme where you have a stacked blocks and then a little block below that is holding all the others up.
Yeah, the guy in Nebraska, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the one single person maintaining that one little library that everyone is using.
everyone's using indeed.
Uh,
Yeah, well, in a way, that if you purely look at the numbers, that's also how it works with Maven. And there are a few people that devote a lot of their time. There are more companies, by the way, that now do this, and have people that actually put working time into working on Maven. The funny thing is, like a couple of weeks ago, we did a Hacktoberfest event at InfoSupport, and I still remember that one of the participants said to me, "Wow, this was so inspiring. I always wanted to do this, but if I do this on Friday night in my attic, time is limited. I'm tired after
mhm.
a week of work, and now being able to work just 2 days with like-minded engineers or artists, as
Mhm.
Sander calls them. Um, Look at what I can achieve in just 2 days. It's amazing. I want to do this
Yeah,
more often."
yeah, yeah.
And that really made my day. Him being enthusiastic about, I want to do this. That this is great.
I I have it in my talk is you can learn so much from an open source project. You can learn so much about how it's organized, what technology it's using. Like for
Yeah.
instance, if you look in OpenJDK itself, there is a whole history there of time zone records, for instance.
Yes.
So A source project can be a history book, and you can learn a lot from how other projects are managed and developed.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. How can people join, for instance, the Maven project? How does this work? How do I get involved into an open source project?
Usually, it's relatively simple. At least it should be relatively simply. That's what simple. That's what I strongly believe. The best way usually is to reach out in an issue tracker, or if a project has one, on a mailing list, and be a bit concrete. I'd like to work on this particular issue that I found. Maybe you discovered it yourself. Maybe you just found it in the issue tracker. Um, how do I get started? Who can help me out? I think that's typically the best way. Many projects nowadays have up for grabs lists. They tag issues that they believe are relatively
Easy.
simple, don't require in-depth knowledge of the project to be present, that you already have it. But as we look at it in the Apache Maven project, if you have Java coding skills and problem solving skills, you should be able to do these.
Mhm.
And actually, one of my colleagues worked on such an item during that 2-day event. And indeed, without having that much knowledge of Maven itself or how it is
Mhm.
built, the code and the architecture of Maven, he was able to resolve that issue and get it working in just 2 days.
Mhm. Well, that's indeed
Yeah.
a nice challenge. Okay, thanks a lot for this talk. Have fun here today at JFall,
Yeah.
and thank you for being part of the Foojay podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.